welcome to the City and Tower Hamlets Early Years podcast. Today's episode is all about supporting healthy early years through joint working. I'm Verity from the City Early Years team, and I'm joined today by Lorraine Moss, the Healthy Early Years lead from Tower Hamlets. We'll be sharing practical ideas, examples of good practice from settings we've visited, and some simple ways nurseries, childminders and early years settings can support children's health and well-being. Hi, Lorraine.
Hello, Verity. Thanks for inviting me. It's really good to be working together and sharing what we're seeing across settings.
Let's start, though. What is Early Years London?
So, Healthy Early Years London is a London-wide programme for early years settings, such as nurseries and those nurseries in school settings, playgroups, childminders, family hubs, including children and family centres. It's an award scheme that supports and recognises good practice in children's health, well-being and development in the early years.
And why is this so important to have a focus on this?
So, HEYL helps settings and all of our providers to promote many aspects of physical, mental health and well-being, including healthy eating, oral health, physical activity. It supports children's development and well-being, including speech, emotional health and learning. Improves practice across the whole setting. It can create a bonding between staff, children and families, and it's really important to focus on key changes to lifestyle that can make a big difference for the future and reflect on current practices as a team and progress their practice.
That's so right, because we see that as well in our city settings. Health isn't just about food or physical activity, but it's also about the pedagogy and the routines and the environments. And both of us have spent a lot of time, haven't we, visiting settings. Have you got any examples of where you've seen practice going really well?
Yes, I've always got a story to tell, Verity. One setting, we had to look at the environment from the children's perspective to see what they see when they come into nursery. And it's very different if you crawl into a setting on your knees than if you look at it from above. So we all did that and realised that there was way too much furniture and all they could see was chairs and table legs. Some of the younger children couldn't actually see the activities that were set out. So some of the chairs and tables were removed, which also helps sedentary behaviour because children can stand up and do activities. They're not usually there for too long for young children anyway. So the chairs were put back when children ate, and there were bean bags around and comfortable areas for the children to sit and read, self-regulate, have some cosy time. And following this change, the environment was much more child-focused and child-friendly, using tough trays for messy play and the floor for cars, garages, train sets, etc. And the children could actually see what was there, so they got really excited when they came in and ran to their favourite activity. And it's much more inclusive and it's in line with ordinarily available provision which we're promoting in Tower Hamlets. It encourages the children to use all of their muscle groups, promoting physical activity and physical development and personal, social and emotional development, like turn taking and being kind to each other. So I think it was really important to highlight that to the staff team so they could reflect on their practice. And sometimes things work well and sometimes they don't. And it's fine if you try something and it doesn't work, as long as we put the learning into practice and improve practice for the future.
That's a fantastic example of how you've made those changes in the settings have really reflected on their provision. We've also seen similar things like that in the city. We've seen changes to snack times and lots more movement built into the day, and some really positive messages given out to families and practitioners and children around food and lots of activities supporting their well-being. Our settings have done a lot of work around the green spaces in the city, taking their children for walks around the city. And we've even got things like yoga. We've got some amazing chefs as well in our settings that are working very closely with the managers and the educators to support healthy eating. Some brilliant creative activities, such as one setting took their children shopping for the ingredients for the healthy snack, which included a lot of curriculum ideas in that whole activity. And I remember observing a child once spending about 10 minutes just ripping the lettuce really slowly to make the salad for snack time or for lunch. But they were so immersed and so involved in the activity of just ripping the lettuce into small pieces. Really quite magical. So it sounds brilliant, the work that Tower Hamlets is doing. What about new settings? What practical ideas would you suggest settings to start with if they want to strengthen their healthy early years approach?
Following on from what you said about that experience with the child tearing the lettuce, it's that whole all-round experience using all your senses, because the smell of the lettuce and the sound and the taste. So that's an amazing example of how good practice doesn't need to be complicated. It's the simplest thing in the world. So it's building on that. And I think it's working collaboratively as a team across the whole setting. So from everybody, from the cleaners, the receptionist, to talk and model good practice for the children, and having clear, simple messaging that gets across to everybody, parents, staff. It's really important. And embedding health and wellbeing into daily routines. Again, going back to the example you gave, going shopping. It's such a good experience for children. And many children don't go shopping nowadays with delivery to your house and things like that. So it's an amazing experience. And I think it's really important for new settings to support staff confidence and embed skills in the way that they want their setting to run. So all settings focus on different areas and they have to find their own place and really embed those skills and make sure staff have training and they're aware of safeguarding and all statutory requirements. But I think that collaborative approach is really key to building a new team.
That's so spot on. And you mentioned families being the key as well, to involve them and to share the messages positively. So what are your thoughts on the Learning Link, the families, the parent partnership?
Parental partnership is key as well. HEYL refers to it all the way through, working collaboratively with parents and carers, using clear, concise messages to promote consistent health and wellbeing and development outcomes for children across both the setting and the home, for activities like toilet training and healthy eating and promoting a robust bedtime so the children come to nursery ready to learn and not be absolutely exhausted. We have to work in partnership with parents, otherwise it just won't work, as do schools. So it's about that initial meeting with them and gaining their trust and building on that relationship. It takes a while to build a relationship with parents and carers, especially when you may have to have difficult conversations that they may not like. So it's, as long as they know that you've got their child's best interests at heart, they will take things on. Most parents. Sometimes it can take longer than others, and sometimes you might need to drip feed ideas so that it's a much more slower approach, depending on the parent and what they've got going on in their life as well. I talked about the positive home learning environment. So again, it depends what parents have got on, but ideally having a book before bedtime would be great. So some settings have got a library for parents to borrow books, and that builds up a lovely bond because you can see the children develop their skills, and the parents as well, because sometimes some parents aren't sure about reading stories to their children.
Then, of course, things like our libraries and healthy eating workshops and breastfeeding groups and our family information timetable with all the lovely activities that happen across both boroughs, I guess is also part of making a connection and reinforcing the importance and the value of parents supporting their child's healthy start. What about the challenges that we have, though? Because often this can stop some settings from putting in their programme of healthy early years. And what kind of things can settings do to overcome them?
Yeah, we have so many barriers in Tower Hamlets. I'm sure you do in the city. And the cost of living crisis is a massive barrier. Recruitment and retention of staff. I think following from COVID, a lot of staff were absolutely exhausted and haven't properly recovered from it, because some staff don't close in the holidays, so they work all the way through. The only time they get off is Christmas and Easter. They can have some annual leave, obviously. I think as well, there's lots of new legislation that's come in. For example, the nutrition guidance, the EYFS changes, the new Ofsted framework, the new HEYL programme. And changes need to be adapted to, and that takes time. It takes time for all of us. I think as well, there's an increase in the complexity of children's needs, and I think there's an increase in parental mental health. So a lot of parents have got a few issues dealing with what is parental responsibility and what the nursery should be doing for their children. So I think there's a lot of managers and senior staff dealing with that aspect. I think there are lots of networks in place to support providers. There's an old-fashioned saying that it takes a village to raise a child. And we've mentioned before, you mentioned about all the things in the community that help parents, like the Ideas Store, Family Information Service, Children and Family Centres, Family Hubs. There's lots of activities going on in Ideas Stores that a lot of parents don't know about. So Tower Hamlets have got lots and lots of free activities in the holidays, which are absolutely amazing. So it's about promoting that as well. So there's lots and lots of stresses on providers, but they do an absolutely amazing job, and we're very proud of them.
Totally agreed. And that's definitely something we see in the city as well. And I think it is reassuring for settings to know that they're not totally alone with this. And change does happen gradually, and working together really, really does make sense because, as you know, working together is very important. It's a good chance to share problems as well and share solutions. So, anyone listening, if practitioners or parents do take one or two things away from today, what would you want them to be?
Oh, it's difficult to make a decision. I've got lots of ideas. So I think the whole setting approach, supported by a staff team being creative, I think sometimes we all get into a rut and we don't use our creative brains. And children need to be curious. So I think as providers, we need to be creative to increase their curiosity, to be innovative, talkative, and that will reflect on the children. That will build their confidence and their learning and increase their sociability and develop a strong feeling of confidence and independence, and hopefully with very sound values.
Very wise words, Lorraine. And I think from the city perspective, we also really encourage our settings to keep reflecting on what they do well and extend and build from there and take time and keep extending that vision. And as you said, most importantly, to be themselves, because we have so much great practice across Tower Hamlets and the City of London, and to take pride. To take pride in what they do.
Exactly.
Gosh, Lorraine, thank you so much for joining me today. You can find City of London training on our Healthy Early Years website, and Tower Hamlets also has a range of Healthy Early Years resources coming soon on their website. And of course, you can also look on the Healthy Early Years London website as well, which is supported by the NCB. So thank you so much. This podcast will be available on YouTube and the City Training page and the Tower Hamlets page, and we can share it on our various platforms. We'd love to record some more. So thank you so much for listening. And thank you so much to Lorraine Moss from Tower Hamlets, who's come today to share all this really, really excellent practice and ideas. Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you, Verity. It's been great to be a part of it.